Hey Bio Team, I wanted to do a quick review of acids and bases. So an acid is any chemical that's able to donate a proton or a hydrogen ion into solution. And we're using the term proton and hydrogen ion interchangeably because if you look at what hydrogen is actually constructed from, you look at its tile on the periodic table, you'll see that it is made of just a single proton. So a really common example of an acid would be this molecule right here, H3O, or hydronium. And you'll notice that H3O looks very similar to water, except it has an extra proton, an extra hydrogen ion, which it is able to donate into solution. And so it's these extra hydrogen ions that give acids their acidity. It gives them their sting. Whereas a base is the opposite. A base is a chemical that's able to receive a proton, take a proton out of solution. And so a classic example of this would be a hydroxide ion, which is like a water molecule, except that it is missing a hydrogen atom. And so a base can accept a proton either from an acid or from other water molecules. So here we have an example of a base, hydroxide, accepting a proton from a water molecule. We'll watch that happen here. And in the process, this hydroxide becomes a water molecule, and the water molecule is now hydroxide. It's a new base. But a base can also take a proton, accept a proton from an acid. So here we have our base hydroxide that's able to receive a proton. And here we have our acid, hydronium, H3O, which is able to donate hydrogen. And so we'll watch the base take the hydrogen away from the acid. And in the process now, both the base and the acid have become water molecules. And so we say that the base and the acid in this process neutralized each other. So if a biologist wanted to measure how acidic or how alkaline, that is how basic a solution is, they'd use something called a pH scale. And pH scale runs from 0 to 14. The closer toward 0 the pH of a substance is, the more acidic, the more hydrogen ions it has within it. And the more basic or the more alkaline something is, the closer it will be to 14 on the pH scale. And if a solution has equal concentrations of hydrogen and hydroxide, we say that the solution is neutral and it has a pH right in the middle of 7. And last, to determine the pH level of a substance, scientists will use something called an indicator, which is just something that changes color when exposed to certain chemicals. So a very common pH test, a very common pH indicator is the litmus test. And so litmus paper will turn blue in the presence of a base, hydroxide ions, and it'll turn red in the presence of an acid. That's it. At this point, you guys have a couple of practice problems. We'll see you next class.